we are excited to bring in one of the guys that knows a fair amount about the NWSL. He's one of the editors over at VAVEL USA. It is Chris Blakely, a good friend of the show that we love to talk a lot about, and now that he's finally back, we can talk with him as well. So, Chris, hello, sir, and welcome back to the show.
Well, hello, and thanks for having me again. It's been way too long.
It has. We were talking with you off air as well. We talk about you at least once a week. We find a way to work you in the show at least once a week. So you've been with us in spirit, Chris, for many a week. But we're glad to have you back on the program. And I personally have got to ask you right away: is it still raining in Seattle after Sky Blue pulling that incredible upset, or what exactly is the feeling around town after such a surprising fixture opening day?
Well, to answer the question, no. It's a nice 75, no clouds in the sky for a change in Seattle.
Okay.
So
you finally get to cut your grass with the sun out.
Yeah, right. What's that like?
Yeah. It's a nice improvement. It was a bit of a shock for the fans in attendance. You could tell, they've never seen their team lose at Memorial Stadium. So I believe it was a 24-game unbeaten streak the Reign had going. So, and honestly, the way Sky Blue did it with 6 rookies on the field, that was pretty impressive. Laura Harvey, after the game, she was not happy at all.
Rightfully so.
Exactly. And honestly, she's kind of glad that the unbeaten streak ended. That was one of the first things she said in her press conference, post-game press conference, saying, well, now we don't have to talk about this anymore. And a lot of the other players echoed that same sentiment of, it's done, it's over with, let's get back to actually playing soccer and making it, getting back on track to where they need to be.
I can imagine, yeah. And that's, something like that, losing... and anytime you hear that, we heard that with, even the Golden State Warriors this season as well, too, after they finally were, I think after 24 games when they finally lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, a lot of those guys are like, you know what, great, whatever. It was a fun record, it was a fun thing to do for a while, but we're just glad it's over, and we can actually focus on playing the game instead of what the media actually wants us to focus on. And it's, things like this with a team as well-known as the Seattle Reign. You talk about all the great players they have on their team as well. I mean, you got ladies like Hope Solo and Megan Rapinoe when she comes back from injury as well. But it's a very long season as well if you're part of the NWSL. So losing opening day is not a reason to freak out and clear the buses and everybody jump off. That's a supporter. And I think Seattle, as an organization, I think will be just fine. And that, you see this happen sometimes, though, too, in opening days. Some teams just are a little bit more hyped about the beginning of the season than others. So I think for Seattle fans, what's the message that they need to kind of take away now going the rest of the season?
Well, it's just like you said, it's not the end of the world. No time to jump off the quote-unquote bandwagon, if you will. They just need to, they need to, obviously hope the girls go out this weekend and bounce back when they play Boston on Sunday, and just kind of keep your spirits high, because honestly, as you mentioned, it's the opening weekend. There's still a ton of games left. Last year they started off 1-2, and then they came back and once again became, were the best team in the league until it came to the playoffs. But it's nothing to worry about. They obviously have some stuff to work on. I've never actually, in my time covering the team, I've actually never seen them. I don't want to say the word play this badly, but they didn't play very well. They were getting torched on the wing with Kelly O'Hara going up and down that left side of the pitch against Ellie Reed. Which she's good at doing, yeah. Yeah, well, exactly. And Ellie Reed usually, she's the right back for the Reign. She's a great defender, and she was just getting torched. But Kelly, she is a U.S. international, and she's great at what she does. Just overall, they just need, the Reign, they kind of seemed out of focus. I'm sure, Laura Harvey will get them back on schedule and get them, get their minds, back the way it needs to be. And hopefully when they play Boston, we'll see the Seattle Reign of old.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about playing Boston as well, the Washington Spirit took down the Boston Breakers 1-0 on a very early, elaborate bicycle kick as well. And I had the opportunity to watch most of this game, and I forget, when you don't watch a player like Crystal Dunn for a little while and then you watch her again, you forget how fast she actually is. And seeing her with the ball, she has tendencies where she reminds me a little bit of Cristiano Ronaldo, with the fact that when she has the ball, she just goes at a defender. And you can just see the defenders kind of freak out for a brief moment, because they're like, holy cow, she's going to just burn right by me. And she did that a lot. And she had that opening assist as well. But if you're the Washington Spirit, you knew going against a team like Boston, it wasn't going to be one of those games where you're like, look, we don't, this is a decent team, but we should win. And ladies like Christine Nairn, who we've had on the program as well here before, stepped up and did a good job. And, Washington gets a nice 1-0 victory to open the season for them.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, you're exactly correct on Crystal Dunn. It's getting to, watch her last year in the playoffs against the Reign, and then also when the U.S. national team came up here to scout in October, just seeing how fast she is in person, she just torments that back line all game long. And, I've been watching her for the last year or so with all the international games and NWSL games, and she's a great player. You are right. She, a little bit reminds you of a little bit of Ronaldo on the women's side, obviously.
Sure.
But yeah, I think Washington, they have a coach because Mark Parsons left and went to Portland. I still think they'll be good. They'll probably be in the top 4 when the season ends. They got a good squad.
They do,
honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked with Christine before. We've talked with their head coach as well, Jim Gabara, as well on 2 Up Front as well. But you talk about this weekend as a whole. If you want to talk about Seattle losing, obviously that was a big surprise. The other big surprise I'd have to say was probably the defending champs losing to Western New York Flash as well. After I keep name dropping, I'm not trying to, but they just happened to all do well this week. Sam Mewis scoring a goal for the Western New York Flash, a former guest here on 2 Up Front as well, sinking FC Kansas City also in front of a large home crowd for FC Kansas City also.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shock. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a lot of the games this weekend, but I was keeping tabs on that and just seeing that they had lost. I wasn't expecting that, especially a team like that with so many veterans on it. They're arguably one of the best defensive teams in the league, and I believe it was 1-0 is what the final score was.
Yep.
So, they only gave up 1 goal, which isn't a big deal, but still, just to see them kind of struggle a little bit was a shock.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one.
Yeah, that's one of the things I actually, speaking of goalkeepers, Boston Breakers, they did lose 1-0. Not to keep talking about the Reign, because, that's not my habit, but just talking about this upcoming game that they have, Chris, Libby Stout, who's the goalkeeper for Boston, spent a couple years over in Liverpool. She faced 7 shots on goal, only gave up 1, but actually Washington was peppering her, 15 shots overall.
Yeah, Washington controlled the play of that game.
So what does Seattle need to do to get past the goalkeeper of that skill level?
Honestly, they're going to have to do exactly the same thing and just keep peppering the goal. And I know this weekend when they played Sky Blue, that's exactly what they did. But surprisingly, their Sky Blue's rookie goalkeeper, I believe her name's Carolyn Casey, she stepped up huge. Watching her play, you never think she was a rookie. She had a great one-on-one chance with the Reign's new signing. Milas is her last name. I'm drawing a blank on her first name. I do apologize. But they just need to – Seattle just has to keep doing what they normally do, is just get their midfield involved with Jess Fishlock and Kim Little. And, Keelan Winters, kind of sits in front of the back 4 and distributes the ball, and they got to get their forwards a little bit more involved. They had Merritt Mathias and Beverly Yanez and Milas. They had a lot of action and time on the ball, but they just really weren't getting any clean shots. So they got to open up some of that space and make Boston's keeper work.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that one. And you talk about rookies not looking like rookies. You have to bring your attention to what the Houston Dash did as they defeated the Chicago Red Stars by a score of 3-1. And the rookie, quote-unquote rookie, Rachel Daly, scoring a goal, a beautiful one-time goal from her, and also assisting a goal as well to lead the Dash 3-1 over the Red Stars. Watching this game, watching how she attacked a U.S. considering the second best goalie on the women's side with Alyssa Nair, she made Alyssa look like she was a freshman in high school. She really embarrassed her a lot the entire night. The Houston Dash, they were almost like a sleeping animal. They conceded an early goal after Kristen Press does what she does best, jumped on an early ball, slotted that ball away. As a forward, you loved, when defenders have a miscommunication like that. But then you saw it continue to build. You saw Daly score a goal. You were able to see Becky score a goal. You saw Carly Lloyd hit a pinpoint header. And all of a sudden, Houston is just off and running. But Rachel Daly, though, is the true story of the week in NWSL. She was voted the player of the week as well. But talk a little bit about what she did, and now that the entire league is kind of looking back at her like, well, now, who are you?
Yeah, I know technically, yes, she's a rookie, but I believe she's 24. She's got plenty of time overseas. She's also part of the England, I believe the U23 team, at least at the time. She might be part of the senior team now. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, she's from the brief highlights I did watch, she's a pretty outstanding player. I think with her, Lloyd, and a couple other players, Houston might be a team to watch out. They're trying to make the playoffs. They've never made it in their previous 2 years. Mm-hmm. So with her and Lloyd and all those other players, I think they're a team to really, consider and be on the lookout for, because they look dangerous, especially any team that has Carly Lloyd on it. They're going to be dangerous anyways.
Oh, exactly.
But when you add
very true.
Yeah, and when you add somebody like Rachel Daly and all the other players on their team, it just makes them even more and more dangerous.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you on that one. Daly definitely took over that game. And the one other game that we need to talk about as well, the Portland Thorns and Orlando Pride, the game that a lot of folks were excited about because it's the new season for the Portland Thorns after not having the best finish last year, but then it was the new expansion team in Orlando Pride as well, and leave it to Portland to come from behind to secure a victory, a 2-1 victory.
Well, and one of the big things about this match was the Alex Morgan trade in the offseason.
Yes.
So Alex Morgan facing her former team, and Portland does come out on top 2-1. And talk about great crowds. Another great crowd in Portland, over 16,000 fans. It was the largest crowd for a home opener for Portland. Long name, Chris. Can you say this name for us? Dagny Bjorn Jarstador?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me because I
we'll call her Dagny. We'll call her Dagny, yeah.
I did, I was reading one of our writers on our website, he did the recap, and I saw that name, and I was like, there is no way in heck I'm even going to try to pronounce it, because I don't want to do her any injustice.
That's one of those things where you try to run it through spell check, and you're like, well, maybe it's not. Maybe that is how it's spelled. I don't know exactly. It's like maybe you pushed a few too many keys trying to spell like Brian or something. It's like, no, that's exactly what it is.
Getting was saying it's spelled wrong, so
yeah, exactly. Even if it's spelled wrong, none of us would know, honestly. But if you're Orlando, though, I mean, you got to be fairly happy with how the game went. You were tied 1-1 going into halftime, and then you give up that late goal. You look ahead, though. If you're Orlando now, they were going to try to fill the bowl as well, like what we saw from the Orlando City as well. Are you defusing a bomb, Chris, right now, or what exactly are you doing while you're talking to us?
Sorry, I'm sitting in my car here taking a break at work. And I was
just making sure you're all right.
No,
you're fine. Just making sure we're not interrupting some more important work right now.
No, you're fine. Sorry about that.
No, not a problem at all. So, I mean, you look ahead for Orlando, though. This is a team that I wrote about last week, saying that offensively they certainly have enough ladies on their team to be dangerous. Defensively, I'm a little concerned about what they've got as a team going forward, but Orlando, the way that this NWSL is set up, I think they have an opportunity to do well, but you also talk about teams like Seattle, teams like Portland, and then Houston really asserting themselves has to make you wonder just if Orlando's going to have a chance to make the playoffs in their inaugural season or not.
I think we may have lost them.
I don't know. Did we finally lose them again?
Yeah, it'll be tough for them. Can you hear me?
You're good. You're good. Keep going.
Hello?
You're good. We got you. Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Any expansion? I'm still here. Yeah. It's hard for any expansion team to get off and starting, but when you have players like Alex Morgan on there, I mean that does help. It's 10-team league and only 4 teams make it, so I mean it won't be easy, but they're going to have that great home field advantage down at the Citrus Bowl. So It'll be exciting to see what they can do.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you on that one. All right, Chris. Well, before we let you go, one other thing that's exciting. The NWSL Championship has officially been announced that it will be in Houston at BBVA Compass Stadium, October the 9th. Talk about a beautiful venue to play in, that's for sure. What did you think about the announcement coming out of Houston that they will be hosting the tournament?
It's good because it's in another Major League Soccer stadium. I'm just a little bit, because obviously the Dynamo have essentially own the Dash, and the same with Portland and with their Timbers and the Thorns. But I think it's good. It's like you said, it's a great stadium. It's large. The field looks when it's not raining, the field looks great. It doesn't get watered down like it did last year when Seattle played down there. But it's good for the league because, it brings in a lot of people. Looks good on TV. Obviously that's what Fox Sports and the league care about. They want to make sure everything looks nice and pretty on TV for their worldwide audience. But, I'm a little afraid that they're just going to kind of keep bouncing back and forth between MLS cities, even though it's an NWSL league, but like last year they put it in Portland with an MLS team. This year, Houston with an MLS team. Who knows, next year it might be in Orlando with an MLS team. I'm kind of worried about that, but I also understand, when they had the championship game, they won it in a nice big stadium. You don't want it to, no offense to Memorial Stadium here in downtown Seattle, but it's horrible for TV lines. The field is atrocious, as much as I hate to say that, but it is what it is. And then you have some of the other teams that are play on fields that only have a capacity of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. So it makes sense for them to go to larger venues, and it's good for the league in the end.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do see what you're saying, though. At the same time, you do want your own identity, and not always have to be linked up to an MLS stadium.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, too, you need to realize that for the women's games, they're not going to build soccer-specific stadiums just for these women's teams, unfortunately.
Not yet, right.
And maybe they will down the road, but you saw the Red Stars, they're transferring after playing from at a college campus on a converted football field, basically. Now they're going to Toyota Field or Toyota Park, so they're going to play the same place the Chicago Fire play as well. So we're seeing that transition over where they want to be in more distinguished stadiums, but at the end of the day, though, what exactly is it going to end up happening? We'll see going forward. So, all right, well, Chris, we appreciate you taking time with us here on Two Up Front. Always a pleasure, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the future, sir. So thanks for taking some time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.